सर्वजन सम्मानिता पुनरुपस्थापित विमानवर विश्राणन प्रीणित वैश्रवण विश्रावित यशः प्रपञ्च पञ्चतापन्न मुनिकुमार सञ्जीवनामृता त्रेतायुग प्रवर्तित कार्तयुग वृत्तान्त अविकल बहु सुवर्ण हयमक सहस्र निर्वहण निर्वर्तित निज वर्णाश्रम धर्म सर्वकर्म समाराध्य सनातन धर्म साकेत जनपद जनिध निक जंगमत जितर जंतु जात दिव्यगति दान दर्शित नित्य निस्सीम वैभव भवतपनतापित भक्त जन भद्रा राम श्रीराम भद्रा नमस्ते पुनस्ते नमः चतुर्मुखेश्वर मुखैः पुत्र पौत्रादिशालिने नमः सीता समेताय रामाय गृहमेधिने चतुर्मुखेश्वर मुखैः पुत्र पौत्रादिशालिने नमः सीता समेताय रामाय गृहमेधिने कविकथक सिंह कथितं कठोर सुकुमार गुम्भ गम्भीरं भवभय भेषजमेतत् पठत महावीर वैभव सुधियः कविकथक सिंह कथितं कठोर सुकुमार गुम्भ गम्भीरं भवभय भेषजमेतत् पठत महावीर वैभवं सुधियः।
श्रीमान् वेंकटनाथार्यः कवितार्किक केसरी वेदांताचार्यवर्यो मे सन्निधत्तां सदा हृदि पारावार पयो विशोषण कला पारीण कालानल ज्वाला जाल विहार हारि विशिख व्यापार घोरक्रमः सर्वावस्थ सकत् प्रपन्न जनता संरक्षणैकव्रती धर्मो विग्रहवान् अधर्म विरतिं धर्मी सतन्वीतनः संरक्षणैकव्रती. That is a beautiful expression given by Sri Vedanta Deshika in his Dashavatara Stotram on Rama, that he is the fittest person to be surrendered to. Dear devotees of Salsam Hindu Temple and Cultural Center, we continue the suspense of the previous session. So you find that the human being was cunning fellow, and the bear, in spite of his bad action of pushing it to be the prey of the tiger, the bear said to the man, "Don't worry, you are safe. I won't push you down when you sleep." So the tiger went off without getting the prey. And when an animal does like this, why should I not? Rama said to the monkey. Another illustration that Sri Rama quotes is, there was a hunter in the forest. He was trying to catch birds and eat their flesh. And one day it was heavily raining, and he was shivering by the cold. He could not catch birds. And when he suffered from the cold climate, a pigeon, kapota, came and saw his piquant situation and then tried to help him. And when the hunter saw one of the pair of birds, he killed one of the birds with the arrow, and what happened next was something peculiar, something wonderful, which all of us as human beings must follow. The other pair, or the other bird or the pair, brought sticks as fuel to light up a fire, and they roast the flesh of the bird, and the fire also will remove his shivering. And again, that bird also which brought sticks, fell into the same fire and offered its own flesh to the hunter in order to save his life. So this is another episode that Rama quotes in order to accept Vibhishana into his fold. Hanuman also earlier suggested that Vibhishana's look was bright and not cunning, and therefore Sri Rama cites many reasons to accept Vibhishana, and he told Sugriva that there was no one else equal to Bharata in showing the affection towards a brother, and therefore you cannot make my decision wrong. So he said the Charma Shloka, Sakrideva Prapannaya Tavasmi Iti Yachate. Abhayam Sarvabhutebhyo Dadamyetat Pratam Mama. So Vibhishana came to surrender, he was accepted, and how he helped Sri Rama to fight with his elder brother Ravana. So in many ways, in spite of his relationship with the Sri Lanka kingdom, he had no other option because all his relatives and friends were always doing bad actions. So the evil is to be put down with a heavy hand. That is the policy of Rama. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya is the purpose of his incarnation. And we find now the concluding session here by invoking the blessings of Rama, and we sing on the auspiciousness of Rama. Evametat pura vrittam vyakhyanam bhadramastuvaha pravyaharda vishrabdham balastesham jayastesham kutastesham parabhavaha yesham indivarashyamano hridaye supratishthita kale varshatu parjanyah prithvi satyashalini deshoyam shobharahito brahmanas santu nirbhayah Kaveri vardhatam kale kale varshatu vasavah Sriranganatho jaitu Srirangashischa vardhatam Swasti prajabhya paripalayantam nyayena margena mahim mahishaha Gobrahmanebhya shubhamastu nityam Lokas samasta sukhino bhavantu Mangalam Kosalendraya Mahaniya Gunabdhaye Chakravarti Tanujaya Sarvabhaumaya Mangalam Veda Vedanta Vedyaya Medhashyamalamurtaye Pumsam Mohana Rupaya Punya Shlokaya Mangalam Vishwamitrantharangaya Mithila Nagaripatehe Bhagyanam Paripakaya Bhavya Rupaya Mangalam Pitru Bhaktaya Satatam Bhratribhissaha Sitaya Nandita Khilalokaya Ramabhadraya Mangalam Tyakta Saketa Vasaya Chitrakuta Viharine Sevyaya Sarvayaminam Dhiro Dharaya Mangalam Saumitrina Janakya Chapapana Sigharine Samsevyaya Sada Bhaktya Swamine Mama Mangalam Dandakaranyavasaya Khanditavara Shatrave Viruddhara Rajaya Bhaktaya Muktidaya Astu Mangalam Sadaram Shabari Datta Phalamula Bhilarine Saulabhya Paripurnaya Sattodriktaya Mangalam Hanumat Samavetaya Harisha Bhittadayine Vali Pramasanaya Astu Mahadhiraya Mangalam Srimate Raghuviraya Setul Langhita Sindhave Jitarakshasa Rajaya Ranadhiraya Mangalam Asadyanagarim Divyam Abhishiktāya Sītaya Rājādiraja Rājāya Ramabhadraya Mangalam Mangalāsāsana Parain Madācārya Purogamaihi Sarvaischa Purvairācārya Satkritāyastu Mangalam Pitāmahascha Pitāmahaya Prāceta Dādeta Phalapradaya Sri Bhashyakarottama Deshikaya Sri Shaila Purnaya Namo Namaste Sita Lakshmana Bharata Satrughna Hanumat Sameta Sri Raghunandana Parabrahmane Namaha Srimate Ramanujaya Namaha Srimate Nigamanta Mahadeshikaya Namaha. So let we all now heard the entire Ramayana in a nutshell with many important incidents in these shlokas. And this is the way in which the Parayanam, the recitation of Valmiki Ramayana, is concluded with it. Okay. And therefore, let me. So we understand that Srimad Ramayana must be studied by one and all, and the elders must advise children through what we call picture stories, Amar Chitra Katha, in order to understand the principles embedded in the scriptures. And we must follow, as far as possible, the injunctions uh, given as decree in the scriptures. Now you find that the whole life of Rama was dedicated to the upliftment of the righteous. When the world should be good, all the people should always do good actions. And you find in every episode of Srimad Ramayana, Rama showed himself as a role model, an example to emulate, follow, and imbibe in our culture. So there are so many controversies mentioned in the incidents, and we must put them aside and only take up some important aspects. I would like to say that the lady characters in Srimad Ramayana are picturized as a very intelligent section of the society. Kaikeyi was blamed for asking for two boons from Dasharatha, actually helped the purpose of the incarnation of Rama, and therefore Rama had to be sent for 14 years to the forest. And it was like a picnic for Rama and Sita, whereas Lakshmana doing yeoman service to Rama is our example to follow, that we must all do service to the Lord forever. And the next lady, rather of course Manthara was of a minor character, and she was a maid who came from the Kekeya country, namely Kaikeyi's father's palace, and she changed the mind of Kaikeyi, that we understand. So our mind should not be changed as to the whims and fancies of our friends, but we must be always firm in our thoughts. So the next, Shurpanaka, being wronged by Ravana because Ravana killed her husband in a battle, unfortunately, Shurpanaka takes revenge on Ravana, and therefore made him get attracted towards another's wife. So coveting another's wife is a great sin, as we understand. Thiruvallur in his Tirukkural says, Piranmani nokka peranmai. That's a special 10 verses in Tamil. So when we say in Sanskrit, Matravat paradareshu. Treat others' wives as your mother. Loshtavat paradravyeshu. Others' money should be a lump of clay for us. Atmavat sarvabhuteshu. You must see others just like you. And sapashyati, yapashyati sapashyati. He is a seer, S-E-E-R, a sage, when he does all these three actions. So you have the next lady, Tara, the wife of Vali, warned her husband not to go and fight with Rama. And in spite of her advice, Vali gets killed. And you find that all those who get killed by the hands of Rama, without any exception, go to the heaven. And therefore, we will sometimes think that we will have to behave like demons and antagonize the Lord. That's also one way of devotion, but we are not to follow. And lastly, Mandodari, the wife of great King Ravana, who had many positive qualities. He was a staunch devotee of Lord Shiva. But since he has committed a single grave sin, he has been in trouble. So Mandodari, in spite of her husband being killed by Rama, praises to the sky that she understands and realizes that Rama was no one else other than Lord Shivan Narayan. So I am very happy that Sri Panjabakeshan, the temple committee president of Falsam Hindu Temple and Cultural Center, gave me the opportunity through the good offices of Srimati Sri Priya Vijay Kumar from Falsam. And I am fortunate and you are all lucky to hear the stories of Ramayana in a short duration of time. And we all thank you very much for listening attentively to these lectures with just 15 minutes plus or minus. Let me conclude with a prayer of my Acharya. Kavitarkika Simhaya Kalyana Gunashaline Srimate Venkateshaya Vedanta Gurave Namaha. And we must all remember our preceptor, our teacher, our guide, our mentor, so that we will all have a good life in future. So we have Vedanta, my preceptor, Sri Ranganatha Shatakopa Itindra Dushtam, Lakshmi Nisarma Shatajit Karuneka Patram, Sri Rangavira Raghurat Shatakopa Hrityam, Vedanta Deshike Itindra Maham Prapadde, Srimad Ranga Shatari Samyamivarad Labdhagamam Tadvayam, Srimad Veera Raghubhahat Shatajit Padaravindasyam, Srimad Vetavadansha Deshikete Karunya Vikshaspadam, Seve Rangadhurina Sasanavatam Narayanam Yoginam, Vedanta Deshiketindra Katakshaladhatrayanta Manavadya Gunam Mudhakriyam, Narayanatya Disavya Kripabhishiktam, Sri Ranganathe Dishekharam Ashrayamaha, Srimate Ramanujaya Namaha, Srimate Nigamanta Mahadeshikaya Namaha. Dhanyavada.
मङ्गलं कोसलेन्द्राय महनीय गुणाब्धये चक्रवर्ती तनूजय सार्वभौमाय मङ्गलं सार्वभौमाय मङ्गलं मङ्गलम्